My big brother, Johnny Kaw. I was just a tadpole of a girl when my family decided to leave the crowded city life behind. My daddy said, "There are territories out west with wide open spaces. The Kaw family needs room to grow." He was mostly talking about my big brother. At 15, Johnny had grown so tall that when he stretched out in bed at night, his head hung out the front door and his feet hung out the back door, all the way into the chicken coop, where the hens laid eggs between his toes. Mama loaded up the wagon with our belongings, and Daddy hitched up the oxen. We began to head west, but it wasn't long until Johnny hollered for everybody to stop. "We'll never get there with these slow pokes pulling us." Johnny scoffed. He unhitched the team and put one ox on each shoulder. "Mind you, don't let them topple off," Daddy hollered. "Yes, sir," Johnny said. "Tadpole can keep an eye on 'em." He picked me up and set me on top of his head, where I had to hang on to handfuls of Johnny's red hair to keep from falling off. Then Johnny grabbed hold of the hitch and began pulling the wagon. He never did have much sense of direction. He pulled that wagon one way, then the other, faster and faster, digging out the biggest gully you ever saw. The next night, a big rain came and filled it up. I hear now that they call the crooked gully the Kaw River. Johnny pulled our wagon to Kansas settlement, where people were trying to figure out how to raise crops. "Problem is, these mountains," one settler said. "They are in the way." Johnny said that was no problem. He saw a big cottonwood tree, used the saw to cut it down, and whittled it into a giant scythe. Next, he whacked the mountains off, down near the ground, hauled them west, and piled them up in a big row. Today, folks call them the Rocky Mountains. Everybody in Kansas was so happy with the nice flat land that they asked us to stay and homestead with them. We built a sod house and started planting wheat. Now, one summer it was mighty dry. All of the wheat had started to shrivel up in the field. Our neighbors came and asked for Johnny's assistance. "My crop has about withered away to nothing," said one neighbor. "Without rain, we're done for." "I've got an idea," said Johnny, looking up at some puffy clouds. He grabbed hold of his big hoe and commenced poking holes in the clouds. Down came the rain in buckets, and the wheat was saved. One morning at the river bank, Mama was plunging our dirty clothes in the water to get them clean when a prospector rode up. He said he was headed to California to find gold. "Trouble is," he said, "there's not one decent trail between here and there." Mama said, "Let me talk to my son." Johnny was happy to help. For a week, he hiked back and forth to all kinds of places, dragging his giant bags of wheat everywhere, clearing trails of trees, brush, and boulders. The Gold Rush folks were tickled to find good, clear paths that they named the Oregon Trail, the Santa Fe Trail, and the Chisholm Trail. I'm sure glad our family ended up in Kansas. Our neighbors tell us that this is a bad place for twisters, but so far we haven't seen one. I can't wait though. Johnny plans to lasso that twister and ride it like a bucking bronco, and he's promised his little sister a ride.